Yeah, welcome to Before the Pitch, where you can love New York baseball no matter what shade of blue you are wearing. And we are joined by our friends at the Let's Get To podcast, and everyone will introduce themselves once again in one moment. This is part 2 of the expansion series that we have been doing. If you visited the Let's Get To channel, which you can find both on YouTube and on the Twitter, or at James Christopher's Twitter, you will see the part 1 where we had a fantasy draft where we drafted an international baseball league with the stipulation that all cities must not currently be involved in Major League Baseball. Today, we are going to reveal our team's motifs, jerseys, and any cool extra stuff that we got going on. But part 3 will be next week, where we are going to reveal stadium names, concepts, and minor league teams. We got very, very carried away with this. So without further ado, I will throw this over to my co-host first, Mr. Billy, the Mets fan. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm Billy, and I'm happy to be here today.
Wonderful. James, would you like to introduce yourself first, and then
this is exciting. I know, like, the best part is we had to delay a week, so the anticipation, and I know, like, Jonathan and I are a little. I know every one of Jonathan's designs because I finally said stop. I want to be surprised, but we were a little over. Yeah, but no, I'm excited to be here.
All right, perfect. And with our first draft pick, we will go in order we'll introduce everybody before everyone names their pick. Mr. Jonathan Martin. Jonathan, how are you? And I have to say, I'm honoring you this week by not wearing the Kate Upton jacket, but something that looks as close as I have to a Kate Upton jacket.
Right. And then I went old school. This is actually the jersey I wore to Game 2 of the 2017 World Series in Dodgertown, where you could actually see about 5 home runs go over my brother and mine's head.
Yeah. Next in line with the second draft pick, we have Mr. Andrew Nelson.
I'm Andrew Nelson from the Let's Get To podcasts. Minnesota located, Minnesota Twins fan, St. Paul Saints fan, Rochester Honkers fan, and vintage baseball player.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah, can you explain that hat you're wearing? That looks awesome.
Yeah, this is a Baseballism Field of Dreams cap.
Wow.
They were originally going to be giving them away when they opened up their store in Dyersville, Iowa, where the Field of Dreams film site is. They couldn't open it because of COVID-19, so they did it as an online promo.
Yeah, I think I'm going to steal that from you. I'm going to buy one of those and add that to my hat collection. I genuinely love that hat. I think that looks absolutely fantastic. I really do. And the next pick, we have Mr. Andy Thomas-Sisson. Did I say that right?
That's actually
really I mean, it was really close. But you're from the Northeast, so you get a lot more than the people down here. I am the host of Let's Go Astros on the Let's Get To podcast. I've made several outstanding picks. And today, in addition to being an Astros fan, I am rocking the Portland Mavericks jersey with Yankee great Jim Bouton's number 56, inventor of Big League Chew. If you didn't care about what he did with the Yankees winning the World Series. So super happy to be here and super happy to make the picks.
And last but certainly not least, and I saved this gentleman for last because he has the most interesting jersey of anyone today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the wonderful Mr. Scott McIntyre.
He just loves me because we share the same first name. Hi, I'm Scott McIntyre from Let's Get To and the Big League Chew portion of the podcast. And yes, I am wearing the Gateway Grizzlies cap and the Gateway's Grizzly toilet paper jersey because the Gateway Grizzlies have an amazing tradition just over in Sauget, Illinois, across the river from St. Louis. At the end of the year, the last game of the year, everyone in the stands is given a roll of toilet paper, and they're allowed to roll the field after the game is over. Now, I think this year, more than any, we can appreciate that tradition a little bit more than ever because toilet paper is in such high demand. Baby wiping the field just doesn't carry the same tradition. So, toilet paper, it is.
I love that. That is absolutely fantastic. I love it. So without further ado, we are going to begin revealing the team motifs and names that we have come up with. Again, for one last time, if you have not seen part 1, we highly recommend you watch that first so you can see the cities in which we have all drafted. You will learn those right now, but let's, without further ado, go to our first draft pick. We are revealing names in order that they were drafted. So Mr. Jonathan Martin, please take this away.
Okay, now that I've already done the intro, I don't have to talk that loud. So with the first pick, we picked the franchise in Salt Lake City, Utah, Gulls Baseball Club. For this one, I want to point out a couple things. I do not design logos from scratch. I could do word marks and all that, so I definitely am scouring the internet very ferociously to find something that works and that I can manipulate using Photoshop. For that, I want to point out something that's cool. If you notice the U, what does it form? It forms the state of Utah in the U as well,
wow.
right here.
Nice.
So kind of cool as far as it goes. And then for this one, we went for a little bit more of a classic and traditional look as far as that goes, kind of wanted to do it. So went with the cream pinstripes. I figured I had to have at least one pinstripe club in this group. And then obviously we have a flannel road away jersey. But this one's pretty basic. This one's pretty simple. But always been a big fan of the seagull imagery. And why the gulls? Because the state bird of Utah is actually the seagull. Give you a little history lesson. There was a famine and a drought that was really severe that was happening around, I believe, the 1880s in Utah. Obviously, those are Mormon pioneers and everything that went with it. So they decided to, and then on top of this drought, these crickets started coming in and just devastating the crops all over. And so they decided to basically fast and pray for some sort of help, anything like that. And then literally like out of the blue, all these seagulls just showed up, like millions of them, and started eating all the crickets, saved the crops, all that sort of thing. And ever since then, the seagulls have been in Utah and they're the state bird. So that's the story. So there you go.
I love it.
Stop sharing.
Yeah.
Yo.
Nice.
So
Well,
obviously
yeah.
we got the Mexico City Aztecs. Again, cannot take full credit for the logos as you see right there, but I do word marks and stuff like that. So kind of clean it up and stuff like that. The M is me, and the colors, as you can see, we chose Mexico City in the draft, and I went with the Mexico Aztecs because as it turned out, they're the only Mexican team like that anybody picked. So let's represent all of Mexico. Their colors obviously are represented here by the Aztecs. On one sleeve, you have the Aztec head with the headdress, and then on the other sleeve, you have like an Aztec temple that's on there. And then you got the M on the hat and a stylized M font that is on the away jersey with the brown, orange, and gold color scheme. And you'll notice
I like the brown and orange a lot. That's so sharp.
It comes together. It really comes together really nice. And this is like, you can almost say like a clean version of what the Padres could have done, right? So there are your Mexico Aztecs. Boom, as far as that goes.
I gotta say, my favorite one is the away one, just because I love that font.
Isn't that
from
cool?
Mexico.
That's like, I tried to do it as a number font, but that font does not work for numbers. I will tell you that. So it doesn't work. You would not know what the number is at all. But yeah, that font's pretty dope as far as it goes. Next, let's see what's up. Okay, we got the Brooklyn Carnies. Yes. So we got the Brooklyn Carnies.
I think that name's offensive.
I think so too.
Hey, my mother was raised by Carnies. It's fine.
Okay. I don't
I think it's
know.
less
I
offensive
don't
than
get
2 or 3 of the
angry at
current
me.
Major League
Like, I
Baseball
don't want
names.
people like burning, like getting angry at me with this.
I think that's my wife's industry. I'll have to ask her, but I love the hot dog logo.
Yeah, so again, found that this is old Coney Island imagery that is coming to play here with Brooklyn and Coney Island. That was the reason I went with the Carnies. I know that they had a minor league team where they had, I believe, what was it, the Cyclones that they did?
Yep,
they're still
Something like
there.
that. So they were kind of playing off that Coney theme. What I actually went through with the inspiration on this, again, a cream jersey, and you can't really tell, but there are some details here when you really zoom in on the away blue. That is a satin blue that homages when the Dodgers wore a satin blue jersey for a year, because when they first went to night games, they thought that they wouldn't be seen very well at night. So they had a satin jersey and uniform that they wore to help kind of distinguish that more. So you have this kind of Dodger blue here that I kind of wanted to keep, just slightly different shade. And again, wanted to go with a little bit more of a classic. Again, the Brooklyn here kind of homages while still doing a different word mark. Yeah, so you have the Brooklyn hot dog. And then also this jersey kind of begins with a lot of inspiration from a Brooklyn Dodgers uniform. That went there, but I kind of wanted to go with something really thin. You'll notice the theme. I really love piping and stripes and stuff like that and what I make there as well. Let me see what's next. Okay, so I believe this next one, I hope this isn't offensive. Like now that we're saying carnies, I'm like, oh no. You know?
I think it's mildly. I was really making a joke.
I know. Well, we can rebrand. We can rebrand if we have to. We can rebrand. We'll keep this and we'll just change the name. We could rebrand. The next one, now this one's with Little Rock. I went with the Little Rock Niners. Now this is historical here. Number one, I went with Little Rock and the colors of more kind of a burgundy, red, and gold with white as well. I went for something a little bit more traditional, almost in the vein of the Cincinnati Reds. Again, my great grandfather played baseball for Little Rock for Little Rock Club once upon a time. And the Niners comes from the Little Rock Nine. So it's honoring the 9 middle school African-American children that broke the color barrier of segregation in Little Rock. And so I kind of wanted to do something. I was really trying to think what's in Little Rock besides TCBY. And I wanted to be like, let's do something if it fits. And I hope it doesn't offend anybody or anything like that, but that gives honor to the Little Rock Nine. And
I love that name inspiration too. I think that's really, really good, really clever.
So if you want to say about that name, there's actually a movie called The Ernest Green Story, and Ernest Green was one of the kids. Is actually about that. And I've actually honestly, there's a quote from that movie that I've actually been using when talking to people about modern situations from that movie. So that movie is actually has a special place in my heart right here. So I really appreciate it.
So I mean, as we're a group of white men, not like
just an extra piece of trivia in there for the person that grew up in Little Rock. The first film credit for Scott McIntyre, which would be me, was as Morris Chestnut's airborne guardsman as he played Ernest Green in the Ernest Green Story. So you can see a much thinner version of me with cool hair all throughout that movie.
So we have Scott McIntyre night at the Little Rock Niners.
Yeah,
also
every night is Scott McIntyre night.
I agree.
There's a zip code, 72209. It's Southwest Little Rock. It's where you grew up, and you truly represent. It's where I grew up. You know, we call ourselves O-Niners. So there's a little part of me. I love this name. I love this name.
Oh wow! I mean, I didn't even know that about the area code, right? Like so.
Inside knowledge, man.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I mean, and I'll be honest, this is probably of all my designs the simplest of the designs, but you know, it's got some fun little flourishes, like the little curly Q, almost S there that you actually see in the main logo. And I actually really like this font and the way it looked with the L and the R to create the interlocking L and R. So. This was more simple by design, and you'll actually notice the sleeve pipe, the piping on the pants is on one half it's red and then the other half gold. So you get kind of the two half as far as that goes. Well, I'm glad that's really going. So we approve of this name as far as this
but carnies is definitely offensive. I've checked with my expert.
Oh, crap. We're going to have to rebrand the carnies.
No, what you do is you call them the Carnies for 5 years. You rebrand then, and then you sell Carnies jerseys on retro.
By the way, speaking of like the Washington football franchise, there was like a really funny joke on The Onion where they renamed them, but they didn't rename them the Washington something else, right? They just renamed them the DC Redskins. And that was The Onion, where it's like we renamed them, but we didn't rename the team name. We just named them DC, and it's just like. Speaking of, so all right, we'll have to do something with the carnies. We'll have to fix.
No, you don't. I'm just. I don't think anybody's going to care. Go next up.
Let us know. Okay, 2 more. The Tokyo Ronin.
I love this one.
So
memorize without a master.
Yeah. So this one's kind of cool. You got the samurai in the word mark. You've got the samurai sword, but it's actually a baseball samurai sword bat that's in there that goes down. You got
Oh, I see it. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you see that going on. You got the rising sun in each O, the red rising sun of Japan, of the Japanese flag. Black and red is surprisingly like not a color in baseball. Like that, no franchise is just black and red. I was like, oh, let's do it. And again, that works so well with Japan. You get 2 hats actually. You have one. So on the home Ronin jersey, the hat actually reads Tokyo in Japanese. And then on the away jersey with the Tokyo word mark, the hat reads Ronin on it, as far as it goes. And then, of course, you have the samurai in a baseball bat, and a baseball diamond, baseball diamond helmet. And the colors are black, red, and white, as far as that goes. And Ronin, obviously, they're samurai, but they are masterless samurai, is what the Ronin are, which they're samurai for hire, which is what baseball players really are, right? They are actually free agents for hire, because as Jerry Seinfeld once famously said, right, we're rooting for laundry at the end of the day, right? That's really
Right.
what
Now,
we're doing.
I want to know why you didn't have any of those players be Clint Barton.
Oh, I didn't even think, I mean, yeah. I don't know.
He was Ronin for a while, right? When he wasn't Hawkeye?
Yeah, he bounced back and forth between being Hawkeye and somebody's dad, and just all the
I don't
kinds of
marvel
comic book
very
things
often.
you guys don't care about.
Yeah.
I love this. I want to see if you can, in your hype videos, somehow incorporate the car chase scene from the Ronin movie with Robert De Niro, because that may be the best car chase scene in all of cinema.
I have to get on this. I mean, I'm going to have to hype video it eventually, right? I'm going to have to get that going on. Like, I know. And by the way, I just did home and aways. I totally would have done alternate jerseys and, different types of things. And I actually made some for the Gulls, but that'll have to be on another review as far as it goes. So
I tell you this, you're hitting all the sweet spots for me, especially like 2 guys in a row. So Billy knows this, and I don't think I ever told Jim this. I love Japan and Japanese culture. I was into martial arts a lot when I was little, and I love Japanese stuff. And one of my top 3 favorite Yankees and top 3 players of all time is Hideki Matsui. I love Japanese players. I love Shohei Ohtani. And I always kind of described the difference between Ichiro and Matsui is Ichiro hits like a ninja, but Matsui hits like a samurai. I make that. So like I absolutely love, because like I love Japanese stuff like this, and this is like I would buy this. I would straight up buy this jersey.
Yeah, it's a great look.
I actually went to ALDS Game 3. What was the first game at Yankee Stadium this past year? Game 3, right?
Yeah. Game 3, yeah.
Or no, that was the championship series. Whenever. It was the first game at Yankee Stadium where, funny enough, Tanaka was pitching. But we knew Tanaka was pitching. We brought a Japanese flag, me and my friends.
Oh, cool.
And it said Tanaka time across it. And a couple people were actually taking pictures with it. So I think if you go snooping around, you'll find pictures of the Tanaka time flag. I actually still have it.
Oh,
yeah,
we're going to have to check that out. You're going to have to post those. Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, I love this.
Okay, last one here, guys. Last one for me. This one, before I reveal it, this is actually the one of all the brands. You might not love it, you might do it, but I'm actually the most proud of this one in terms of just the creativity of the name and stuff like that. So this is the Montreal franchise, bringing it back. There will be a little Expos homage, but what it is the Montreal Cirques. And the Cirques obviously is French for circuses. And going further, that is actually the headquarters of Cirque du Soleil, is in Montreal.
Oh.
So where this one comes in, so when you look at how this actually works, we went with a little bit more of a circus theme while still homaging the Expos through their hat. What I did have to do was go into their hat and get rid of the little E, like the little hole that's in there, so it looks more like C baseball, right? So you get that going on. Yeah. We have the strongman logo, who's actually tossing baseballs in his hand as far as it goes, and the dog's barking, and the actual word marks actually create a big top with the flag on top.
Oh, I love that.
Look at that. That's a big top that's coming in right there as far as it goes. The colors are gold, red, blue, and white, which also are the Montreal flag. And obviously, they got the fleur-de-lis above the E, creating the accent above Montreal. We got the powder blue away uniforms, and you have the white homes. And yeah, I just think it's really colorful and a lot of fun, and just really has a lot of pop to it. And yeah, that's the Montreal Cirques as far as it goes. And I debated making it the Montreal Cirque, but then it would just be the circus, right? But so if you got to go plural, you got to go the circuses. So we did the Montreal Cirques as far as it went. So
And you would hate to offend Tampa Bay by calling them the circus.
their time is coming. Their time is coming, 100%. Tampa Bay is not going to have a franchise soon enough. So, so that's what we got going on.
What will they do with
there.
abandoned Costco Field?
Say that again?
What will they do with abandoned Costco Field?
Dude, blow it up. Blow it up. Like, I mean, Tampa Bay. You know what I love about Tampa Bay? I'm going to say this real quick, and I did not do this in 10 minutes. But what I did love about Tampa Bay is, like, the fact is, how on this good green earth do you think that you are ever going to – by the way, my friend is the anchor in Tampa Bay for their news channel, and he's flat out told me they love the Lightning. They love the Buccaneers. They do not care about the Rays in Tampa Bay. And then on top of that, how do you think you're going to build a fan base and a franchise when the Yankees have their AAA team in Tampa Bay?
So, well, I'm gonna give you a little hint. My most of the people who go down there are Yankees and Red Sox because they're all retired people from the north. My neighbor has a summer home in Tampa. It's so expensive to go to Fenway that whenever the Red Sox are down there, he and his wife fly to Tampa. It is cheaper to fly to Tampa from Connecticut and sit behind home plate for an entire series of a Red Sox-Rays series for about 3 games. It is about the same price. It is a better bang for your buck than if you just went to Fenway for one game.
Hilarious.
Golf clap, everybody.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Golf club.
Andrew Nelson, I believe you are the number 2 pick.
All right. So with the number 2 pick, I took St. Paul. And the St. Paul team is going to be called the Apostles. It has some history in St. Paul. Obviously, it's a play on the namesake of the city. They'll have a navy blue uniform with or jersey with white lettering and white pants, navy blue stripe down the sides, and an interlocking STP logo on the cap. And then their aways will be gray with blue lettering.
Will you have Stone Temple Pilots night at the?
We'll have to.
And motor oil night.
Scott Weiland died in
St.
Minnesota,
Petersburg.
so I mean they can make a whole thing of it.
Oh, did he really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he passed away in Rochester like the night he was supposed to do a show there. I lived there at the time. I wasn't going to the show; I had to work. But yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Wow. Oh. Cool. I was honestly surprised. I thought you were going to go with like a Prince-themed team. Thought that would have been cool.
Tempting.
Cool.
All right. I a little bit the rival of the St. Paul Apostles isn't up next. Instead, we have the Portland, Oregon team. And I was really tempted to go with one of the historic Portland baseball names because there are a couple of great ones, the Mavericks and the Beavers, also known as the Lucky Beavers, but that's also kind of an OSU thing. So I decided to go somewhere a little different, and I went with the state name, and they're going to be the Oregon Trailers.
I like. Is there dysentery night?
They're going to have a covered wagon primary logo with a baseball in the kind of hole formed by the cover of the wagon. They're going to have blue and tan uniforms, so kind of a medium royal blue body of the jersey with tan sleeves, tan pants with a blue stripe. And then their away jersey is going to be a nod to one of my favorite all-time uniform patterns done by the Brooklyn Robins and the New York Giants. And it's going to be tan primarily with a blue checker pattern.
I like it.
Does everybody who dies of typhoid get in free? Or if they have a relative who died of typhoid or dysentery, get in free?
This team is going to be fueled by Oregonians' hatred and frustration of non-Oregonians' pronunciation of Oregon.
Oregon.
So for my third pick, just like the St. Paul Apostles were kind of a throwback to an early 20th century, late 19th century minor league real-life team. I decided to do the same for their regional rivals and also go with a thematic rivalry with the Des Moines Demons. And they're going to have a primary white and red jersey. It's going to be pretty simple and clean with a white overall, red stripe on the pants, red cap, white DM, and then there's going to be like a cartoon demon with a pitchfork as their primary logo on the front of their jersey. For their aways, they're going to have powder blues and have kind of a powder blue with red lettering and numbering that's white bordered. So kind of almost Cardinals-esque.
I like it. I like the demonic theme. You guys in the witchcraft can have a nice rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
And then for my fourth pick, I kept it in the Midwest and with Madison. And I'm continuing the theme of defunct minor league teams that I really like the names and logos of. And it's going to be the Madison Muskies. And
nice.
who's not familiar with Midwest fishing, the muskie is a large, fierce, carnivorous lake fish. And the real-life muskies have a really great kind of slightly cartoony muskie as their logo. So we just reprise that and go with the classic A's colors, Kelly green and gold for green primarily with gold accents for the home and gold with green accents for the aways.
Okay, good.
Oh, love it. I was thinking your description of the last one matches the hat you're wearing, which I appreciate because I absolutely love
Yeah, I mean, pretty much these colors, pretty close.
Every time you
a
talk,
little bit more John Deere than Oakland
it.
A's, but yeah, pretty close. I keep forgetting that I have to keep going. My fifth pick was Berlin, taking it international. And this one's going to be a little bit of a deep dive history joke, but they're going to be the Berlin Potato Kings. And so one of the there's a story behind it. So one of the great German historical figures is Frederick the Great, obviously. And one of Frederick the Great's nicknames is Der Kartoffelkönig, which means the Potato King, because he encouraged the widespread cultivation of potatoes in Germany because they're a hard crop for enemies to raid. So to this day, people go and leave potatoes on Frederick the Great's grave as thanks for making potatoes a staple crop in Germany. Because who doesn't love potatoes?
I appreciate you finding a German historical figure that has a relatively positive end to his story.
I thought about going all serious and plain and like I could do Berlin Bears or something like that. But I wanted to go kind of against the grain and do something goofy for the Germans.
You should have like the Berlin fight.
You have a sense of humor and
patents.
And and enjoy goofy stuff. So, but it is going to be kind of a simpler jersey, kind of inspired a little bit by the German national soccer team. So primary white with black accents and black lettering and numbering, but gold rimmed. And then for the aways, primary black with white lettering and numbering and gold rimmed. Excuse me. And then the logo, there's going to be two logos. One is going to be a cartoon Frederick the Great, like winding up with a baseball bat, kind of like some of the Nats George Washington logos.
Nice.
The other one is going to be a smiling potato with a tricorn hat.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I wish I had the artistic skill to render it.
Right.
Last
but not least,
my sixth pick was Sacramento, and this is going to be another throwback historical minor league pick. And there was a old Pacific Coast League team called the Solons. And
yeah.
so they sometimes went by the Senators, but Solons is so much weirder and more unique. And that comes from an ancient Greek figure, politician who is supposedly renowned for his integrity and example as a good ruler and everything. And they're going to be kind of a classic white and navy color scheme. And then the aways are going to be gray with navy pinstripes. And their primary logo is going to be the Capitol Hill Dome from the Capitol building in Sacramento.
I love it. And the Solons, I came across that name when I was researching the latest Raiders of the Lost Diamond from last week when I was talking about the old Hollywood Stars for a few weeks ago. I came across them. That's pretty cool, man. I'm into it.
So I looked up a picture of them. Are they actually playing in shorts?
The Stars did, yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
Is that like real or is that Photoshop?
Solons did too.
Did Bill Veck have a hand in that?
Yeah, I was going to say Bill Beck was part of the ownership group, maybe.
Must have been.
Or the White Sox had to do something with those old shorts.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
But way before that, the Hollywood Stars did play in shorts also.
Oh, they really wow.
Yeah.
Those were Bermuda shorts. They were for fancy gentlemen.
Third pick is, I believe, Andy, correct?
If it's not, it can be. So my first pick was the Maui Club that will be based in Lahaina because there's some land there right next to the beach. It's going to be the best part to be in the entire league. And I'm hoping that you can all see that we're going with a sea theme, a nautical theme with the sea turtles. The Maui Sea Turtles, I don't do logos, but I do jerseys, are going to have ocean and tropical colors. I would imagine this team is going to come out every batting practice in lei-colored jerseys, which I'm still working on as an alternate, with lots of flowers and lots of tropical love. But this is what our first pick is going for, and I'm pretty happy with it. And this is you'll notice somebody already used pinstripes. There's only a couple of teams that need to be wearing pinstripes, so none of my teams will have pinstripes. And if I honestly never have to see a team with pinstripes again, it'll be too soon.
We Astros fans are bitter when they made us wear pinstripes those years.
That wasn't our look.
Hated the pinstripes.
Oh, it was awful.
It was not our look.
They look good in New York. They do. And I'll even let the Cubs wear them, but nobody else needs to be wearing pinstripes. Sorry, Mets fan.
You know, I think it's really funny. I learned through Jim how much the Astros fans actually hate that. Now, here's the funny part. So me and Billy we're millennials. So like, that's what the Astros look like to us.
Right.
Like in all honesty, with the Astros wear,
Like, in all honesty, what the Astros wear now, to us, that's like the new jersey. That's not the that's the new jersey. The Astros to us are the got that little rocket ship on the side, which I love. The brick red one, I absolutely love. And James is going to strangle me right now, but it's okay.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that as a Generation X fan, that was just the death of my youth. Right, that whole 10 years.
And a lot of us, I think, liked the blue and the gold. Actually,
yes, like the blue and gold a lot.
It felt like and I know where I'm slowing things down, but it felt like, you know how when you watch a sitcom and they don't get the rights to a beverage, they just drink a can of beer and it just says beer on it. Those might as well just said baseball on it, right? Like that's what they look like.
So it will probably be a regional rival to the Las Vegas Diamonds, although the two towns could not be more dissimilar. My second pick was Albuquerque, and I'd like to introduce you to the Albuquerque Pinkman. So I like pop culture, and you're sitting there going, well, what has Albuquerque produced? The Walter White's is a little bit too obvious. The Saul Goodman's is a little bit too obscure. The Jesse Pinkman, however, that's got staying power. And we're, of course, going to use the name, even though he didn't really care for the color. And I lost this because I brought the wrong version, but I do have a small little blue rock that's going to go on one of the sleeves, maybe both of the sleeves, because I want to embrace the culture of Albuquerque. And
Can there
want to
be?
show that I want to show that, you know, I respect what they have going on there. So I give you the Albuquerque Pinkman.
Can there be
You
bitch
put a
night?
pizza on their hat brim.
Oh, yeah.
And you gotta have bitch night, right? Like I don't know what that means. You just gotta have one though. Like
They can have that with the swingers.
yeah, right.
Los Dos Hermanos is going to do all of the in-park food, so we've got that going for us.
I'm in it.
I can get Gus Spring out of the hospital. So I think this would be pick 3 actually for me. This would be Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. We borrowed heavily on the influence of the flag, and I'll be really honest, just because I like it and because I know nobody's using it right now, I stole the Burrows. I stole the lettering from the Toronto Blue Jays. But in Santo Domingo, we have the Burros Malos, which is bad donkeys, if you need the Spanish translation, which feels very grandiose to me, but I'll go with it. I made an alternate jersey for this group as too. The Dominican flag colors, and the Dominicans are crazy about their country, right? So they love being Dominican. They love being from the Dominican Republic. They are fiercely proud of their country and anything that has to do with their country. So I adopted the flag colors. There won't be a white jersey in the Dominican Republic because they're going to be a tough, hard scramble team, and so they're going to need darker jerseys to absorb all of that. So anyway, the Burros Malos. That's my 3rd pick in the international draft.
And we're gonna go ahead and finish them out, Andy.
Okay. Let's go next. Bear with me, and I'm sure you can edit this down. All right. So next is.
That sounds like a blast.
And yet, I know that's what you do all day, so enjoy. My 4th pick is the Louisville. Louisville is known for a few things. Known for Louisville Slugger Factory. They're known for being close to horse racing and bluegrass, and they're known for their bourbon. So my 4th pick is the Fighting Bourbonniers, and you can know this little trademark there, the Fighting. I assume you guys can still see that because I have.
No, you've lost your.
Oh, sorry. Go back to that.
There we go.
All right. So you guys can see that now. All right. So the Bourbonniers, blue and green, playing off bluegrass, playing off a lot of the tradition in Kentucky. And I want corporate sponsorship a lot with my teams. So you'll notice most of my teams have something to do with either illicit drugs or completely legal alcohol. So I'm good with that here with the Bourbonniers. And I think that is my 4th pick.
I like how matter of fact you were. I noticed that a lot of my teams had something to do with illicit drugs.
Well, I mean, it's accurate. There was a point when I was actually planning out my draft where everybody was just going to be the highest use of cocaine in the world because I want money to support my teams. All right, so let's go back to screen sharing. My 5th team, even though Jimmy says that the natural rivalry for Dublin is going to be London, Liverpool's still there. And the Liverpool Silver Hammers are coming to get you.
Are they rolling tanks through Liverpool? No, they're not.
Absolutely.
So don't dismiss the troubles.
So obviously playing off the Beatles a little bit, but also going with adopting the colors from Liverpool Football Club. The Silver Hammers are out to get you in a bright cardinal red with a lot of different piping in silver and white. I think this is going to be a jersey that sells really, really well. I did not, however, check the amount of drug use in Liverpool. I will just assume it's high because I picked them. And then finally,
just assume it's
high. Finally, my last but not least team, because we added that 6th round, the Medellin El Padrinos, or El Padrinos de Medellin. So let me get to that. That would be the Godfathers, named after Pablo Escobar, of course. And again, with Medellin being the only South American team that I think we've drafted, I went with the colors for Colombia in South America, colors of the flag. Went with a very simple script P because everybody knows the Padrinos are coming. And the red symbolizes the blood that will be spilled in their wake. And the yellow, the gold, represents the money that they bring in as a franchise. So we're very, very happy with our roster. And I will turn it over to whoever has the next pick.
Scott McIntyre, I believe the floor is yours for this next pick.
It is, and I don't have a screen share because I'm lame like that, but Havana was the first pick. And if you know anything about the history of Havana, there was a AAA team that had to stop playing when that little Fidel Castro thing happened in 1960. The last time that Havana won the AAA crown was in 1959. There was gunfire going off in the stands. People were shooting at each other while the game was going on, but yet the Havana Sugar Kings still won the title, and we're sticking with the Sugar Kings because we got to represent.
Polarity of gear.
Beat the Minneapolis Millers.
So my next pick, the second city I had was Las Vegas. And if you're talking about Vegas, there's it's really hard to think about anything else other than Las Vegas. You think about money, you think about casinos. So for me, we're going with, wow, is the screen lit up, with the Las Vegas Diamonds. So the Diamonds in Las Vegas with a royal blue and silver theme to them, and they'll probably will have pinstripes because that would look sharp. The silver uniforms with the royal blue piping, yeah. So that's what we're going with, Las Vegas Diamonds. Okay, so my where are we at? My third team is in New Orleans, and for New Orleans, if you've been on Bourbon Street, there's a great drink, and there's nothing that New Orleans people do more than just get over whatever happened, right? And they keep rolling on. They rebuilt. And so this is kind of a thumb in the nose to Katrina, and we're going to have the New Orleans Hurricanes in purple and Kelly green.
Oh, yes.
Because with a little bit of gold accent,
the old
perhaps
old Zephyrs colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got it. Yes, absolutely. It's got the Mardi Gras theme. There's a little bit of LSU going on there, although that hurts my soul, and they're farther up the road. So, anyway, so that's New Orleans. My fourth, the fourth city I had was Indianapolis, and there's many things that Indianapolis. I was thinking about creating their uniforms in complete nothing but black in honor of the NCAA. But instead, I chose to go with a better theme at the Indy 500. Go ahead, Jim. For the Indy 500, you think of the checker flag. You do think of red. It's a red and black theme for the Indianapolis Force.
Okay.
It plays off of down force, draft force, all of this stuff. Anything but the Air Force, I guess, would apply in this. It's a circular city, but the Indianapolis circles didn't sound right. So the Indianapolis Force, with their gray trim with the black and red. My fifth city was Memphis, and this one, this one was just easy to me. There's BB, there's Elvis, and Memphis is also known because it was the place that Dr. Martin Luther King was shot. But B.B. King, Elvis is the king of rock and roll. An honor to the National Civil Rights Museum and Dr. Martin Luther King. It's the Memphis Kings with their deep blue and old gold colors. So that's Memphis.
I dig it.
And then the final one, because it was getting late. I think maybe a lot of us have been drinking a little bit whenever we got to the sixth round.
No.
And I chose Mumbai. So
How about that?
and I didn't get a do-over. So you notice I'm drinking the Route 44 tonight.
I was about to ask that. What's in that cup?
Yeah. Yeah, although we've made Moscow Mules and Route 44 drinks before at a film ceremony, but Jim and I can talk about that later.
So
You're pretty
doing
fucked
this
up at
stuff,
a
I
3-hour
really
award ceremony drinking Route 44 Moscow Mules. Let me tell you.
That is true, but we made it through. So I hope this is not. I don't believe this is offensive. I did a lot of study in this. So Mumbai is the home of Bollywood, but I couldn't find anything that really played well with Bollywood. But Mumbai has a huge port area, and one of the gods in the Hindi religion is a fish-like creature. It's called the Matsya, Matsya. Matsya means fish as well. So the Mumbai Matsya, with their magenta. Excuse me, I almost went completely blank. The magenta and the bright green colors. If you're coming to Mumbai, we're going to put on a show. We're going to be colorful, and the Mumbai Matsya will represent. So there we go. Those are mine.
Be the greatest, most beautiful graphics you've ever seen. They'll be wonderful. We have a lot of people working on it. The best people working on the graphics. It's going to be amazing.
The best part
Some may say it is the perfect graphic.
your hands in forced perspective add something to the joke. It's the best.
Everybody talking about it.
I didn't call it perfect. Other people have called it perfect. I guess it's perfect. That's what they say. That's what people say. So if that's what they want to say, that's okay. I didn't call it that. Other people do. There's a lot of people that think it's perfect.
All right, Billy, you're up.
All right. So this is my only completely original team. I kind of took a more historical approach when it came to my team. So my teams all, except for this one, exist in real life or have existed in real life at some point. So my first team here is one that Scott and I have created together. So I'll share my screen here. All right, and my team is the Nashville Suite. Nashville is known as the Music City, and so this is our logo that we've come up with, and it's actually a backwards treble clef as well as an S. And then, of course, you see the bat going right up the center, and these would be the colors, and probably, as we've discussed before, pinstripes on the uniform. But yeah, this is the Nashville Suite.
That's such a cool look, too. I liked it because y'all shared that before when you did your thing on your show. I thought that was super clever.
Billy, do you want to explain what suite means? Because we're not spelling it. Yeah.
You're right. So we're not spelling it. We're spelling it like a musical suite because Nashville is the Music City. And I know it's more of a classical term than like a country music term, but I thought it was a beautiful way to incorporate music and the sentiment of the city into the team itself. All right, so let me get my second team up here. So this is an actual former minor league team that I just loved the concept of, and so I decided to just roll with it. And the Oklahoma City Redhawks. I loved the logo. I love the name. All the birds in the major leagues seem to be kind of wimpy birds. You know, you got Cardinals, Orioles, you got Blue Jays. You need a hawk in here, you know, an alpha bird. So that's what I went with. We got Redhawks. That one's pretty simple, honestly.
I like the font, too. It looks very old baseball. And that's actually a good point you bring up. Baseball does not have intimidating mascots. Like, we have the opposite. Like, we have the Cubs. That's the baby.
Tigers. That's about it.
Oh yeah, the tiger. That's like the worst. That's like the worst. That's just really interesting. Is that like? Why do you guys think that is? Is that like for kids appeal or why is that?
I think
because most of the names came from sports writers.
I think there's a whole George Carlin bit about baseball versus football and why the nicknames are more pacifist and soft. But we probably don't have the rights to that.
Probably don't. By probably, I mean we don't.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think we're likely to see the Louisville Bourbonniers play as we are to see the Houston Astros play this year.
I just want to see what the stands are like when the Albuquerque Pinkmen and the Medellin, what are they? The Medellin what with the big P when they play each other?
El Padrinos de Medellin.
Padrinos de Medellin. That's going to be quite.
The Godfathers.
If they play each other in the true World Series, it's just like a mountain of cocaine that's delivered.
Well,
I agree.
It's Blue Crystal versus China White.
This is going to be a two-parter.
This could be like a four-parter.
I've been up since 4:30 and I'm on pain meds.
That's what I like to hear.
I'm going to give you all the 45 minutes of this. All right, Billy, you're up.
All right. So, like I said, all of my teams are actual real teams, but they're not major league teams. So, for my city that is in Buffalo, the Bisons, it was a former Mets minor league team, so I've always liked the Bisons. They're one of the oldest professional teams in America. They were founded in 1877, so they've been around quite a while. Yeah. And why not bring another historic franchise into the major leagues? So the Bisons, love the logo, love the fact that you have Buffalo and Bison, an oxymoron back to back. And obviously as a Mets fan, they were part of our franchise for a little while, so I enjoyed it.
I was supposed to be there in May.
There we go.
Well, also, Buffalo was one of the first teams in the National League. They didn't join in 1876, but they had a team in 1879.
I did not know that.
So you can bring that back.
They're also a lean cut of meat that is not quite as fat when placed on the grill. Pretty tasty.
They are actually very tasty. The starting center, yes, I was his very first football coach for the starting center of the Buffalo Bills. I coached him in 7th grade flag football. Mitch Morris. Look it up.
Taught him something.
Wasn't Mitch Morris and Dazed and Confused?
Mitchie. Yes. It's Mitch Kramer. It's Mitch Kramer.
Okay, sorry.
Mitchie. All right, Billy, your next one?
All right, so for my next one of the oldest teams in Europe that is actually a professional baseball team, the Amsterdam Quick. I don't really know what Quick has to do with Amsterdam, but they're one of the oldest franchises in Europe, so I had to not ignore them.
I would think things slow down in Amsterdam.
Well, yeah, you would think. If we're talking about a list of drugs and all.
I'm surprised they wouldn't use any orange, because orange is like the color of the Netherlands.
Well, yeah. I mean, this was their colors of blue and white. A lot of their stuff kind of resembles the Dodgers in the way it looks. The Brooklyn Dodgers more so than the LA Dodgers, but that's kind of like the look they got going on. But I don't know. I was surprised to find out that there were as many professional teams in Europe as there are. Wow. But this is one of them.
I think quick is how you want to get from the airport to the red light district.
Well,
so
it's interesting.
You can enjoy yourself. Get there quick. Now.
Or how much time you spend in the red light district. It's going to be pretty quick.
It goes by quickly. It may be 48 hours, but it went by like that, I swear.
But I find it interesting in the Netherlands they say Quick Amsterdam, very similar to the way like football clubs are pronounced in Europe, where the team name comes before the city name, but in traditional like MLB fashion, the city comes before the team name, so I reversed it. All right. So for my next team, we're going to South Korea and the Seoul Superstars. This was one of the original teams in the Korean Baseball League. It does not exist anymore. But this was one of the founders.
Did Warner Brothers sue them? And that's why they don't exist anymore?
I was thinking that too.
Well, they changed names. They changed names like 5 times in the first like 10 years of their existence or something like that. It was kind of weird. Like in the first 5 years, there were like 3 different teams. But this was one of the original Korean baseball teams. So I took that and I thought, why not? If we're going into the major leagues in a true world league, bring back one of the founders. So on top of that, my favorite one that I found was the Taipei Brother Elephants.
Brother Elephants.
And there's something about this way this elephant just stares you down that like I had to bring it back. Like, it's beautiful. I love the elephant. I love that they put it in the forefront, unlike the Oakland A's, who kind of just slap it on the sleeve and say, hey, it's there. But, you know,
Hey, it's there. But you're right,
so-
though. Like, why is it even there? Why is it even there?
So
Like,
it's there because the wife of the original owner of the A's loved elephants.
Yeah, like back in the Connie Mack days.
So are you ready? So I actually did some for one of our videos that's coming out. I did some research on that. It also has to do with like a stuffed. It has something to do with like a stuffed animal elephant that someone gave the owner or something like that.
okay.
Like something had to do with that. Had to do with like with the wife, and then there's something had to do with there was a stuffed elephant that someone gave her as a joke because she liked it.
Yep.
But it had to do with
I
that.
thought
Yeah.
somebody told the owner of the A's that owning their baseball team was like owning a white elephant, like that it was useless or something, and that's why they embraced it. That's what I.
Maybe. I know there's a whole bunch of stories that surround the elephant. The one that I always knew it as was, like I said, the wife of the owner loved elephants, and so he decided to put an elephant on it. Don't know. But yeah,
I thought there's like 3 different versions and no one knows what the actual version is.
yeah, exactly. But the Taipei
Welcome
brother
to early
elephant.
baseball history.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows where anyone comes from. But yeah, so that rounds out my teams.
Okay, James, I believe you are the next pick.
I am, and we're going to go to the PR department of my host company, Twitchy Dolphin Media. Hi, everyone. I'm James Christopher, the head of Twitchy Dolphin Media, and we are very excited to welcome and introduce to you, the fans of our brand new international baseball initiative, the 6 clubs that will be representing our corporation in this international baseball league. And we're going to start across the Atlantic in the old Emerald Isle with our Dublin club. Here at Twitchy Dolphin Media, when we look into branding a baseball club, we really wanted to reflect the culture and the history of the area that we are putting a team. And so the harp has always been an important symbol to the people of Ireland and the people of Dublin. For our jersey, we're going to go with a simple pullover with sort of a soccer style, again reflecting some of the popularity of that sport in Europe. But in Ireland, we all know they like to have a little fun, so on weekends, they won't be the Dublin Harps, but instead Friday and Saturday we'll be playing as the Dublin Pints. We're still going to keep that element of the orange, white, and green flag on this very fun logo look. We're excited to bring to you the natural rival of our Dublin Baseball Club, our new team in London, England. Anyone who knows anything about the history of England and the history of the United Kingdom, it was an empire built on naval power, and nothing symbolized that more than the dreadnought. So we're going to have a lot of fun with the London Dreadnoughts. Their jersey is going to really reflect that naval history and the history of the United Kingdom. And as an alternative, we all know in America that the British love to wear red. We are excited to land back in North America, and we're going to stay in Canada this time, the home of the largest rodeo in the world, Calgary, Canada. We at Twitchy Dolphin Media are very much inspired by the fun approach to branding that comes into minor league baseball, and nothing reflects this more than the look for the Calgary Wranglers. We wanted to capture that cowboy look, but also keep it fun and family friendly, thus the animated style to the horse mascot, and staying away from simple, plain colored jerseys. We are excited to bring to you professional baseball at the major league level in the hometown of one of the most popular baseball clubs ever, Durham. While we'll play with all different versions, at the end of the day, we're the Durham Bulls. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. One of the things that was very important when we put a new club and a new team in a city that hadn't seen Major League Baseball in such a long time was to really capture the history of that city. That's why we're really excited to introduce you all to the Charleston Revenge. And again, going back to history, the history of piracy in Charleston is rich and strong, and we wanted to play with that by going with the Charleston Revenge, which is one of the most famous pirate ships. This will be the main jersey that's worn. We've got the skull and crossbones logo with the number emblazoned in the head. But on Fridays, we're gonna hashtag fly the black, and we've got a little bit more fun look with it. Again, in a simple pullover jersey. It kind of harkens back to the 70s and 80s of baseball. And then for our road gray jerseys, they'll be trimmed in the black. We also thought this pirate look would be a fun way to create a rivalry with our London Dreadnought squad. And now we brought it back home. Last but not least, positioned in New Braunfels, Texas, right between Austin and San Antonio, the Texas Revolution. And the flagship of Twitchy Dolphin Media is the Texas Revolution, centered in New Braunfels, right between Austin and San Antonio. We went with the state of Texas, which anybody who's been to Texas and knows Texans, we're very proud of our state, very proud of that shape with the baseball stitching and the crossed swords, which show that we're ready to fight for our state. We will not be wearing a home white jersey because anybody in warfare knows white is the color of surrender. Our standard jersey will be a blue jersey with some horizontal stripes on the torso to harken back to some of the history of baseball in the state of Texas. We'll also be wearing a red on Friday and Saturdays. And for away games, we'll be wearing a black with Texas added to the word mark. And of course, no Texas look is complete without the Lone Star flag.
We're able to work both powder blue and tequila sunrise into one jersey.
I'm that good. All right, so that's our 6. That is the Twitchy Dolphin Media 6.
I will say that I hope that you're going to expand in Charleston a little bit, but I'm disappointed that none of your jerseys have puffy sleeves. If you're going with Pirates, how do you not have a puffy shirt?
I don't want to be a pirate.
You're a pirate.
So I had seen all those videos before, and I didn't want to say I think Charleston was like straight up my favorite. That Charleston jersey, I put that in the category as the Tokyo jersey. Like I would buy that. I would totally buy that.
I think honestly, of the ones I did, the Charleston one is my favorite too. Even though it's the most simple, I think, and obviously it's a lot like your witchcraft one. You never get away with that in real life, right? Like, you're protesting.
Well, can we? I don't know. Can we?
I don't know. Maybe.
In this league, we can. We have carnies and witches.
It's cocaine. Everybody's on coke in this league anyway. Who cares?
And crystal meth, my friend.
I mean, my guys were high in Amsterdam, but I don't think it was cocaine.
hey, look, guys. I respect us because it was steroids that saved baseball in the '90s. We're gonna have cocaine save it in the 2020s. Okay? I love it.
It's just recreational drugs at this point.
Aren't you the one? Scott, you keep pointing out that baseball ratings are highest when people are stealing bases.
That's right.
Running around really fast. What does that better than cocaine?
Let's go. Come on. I'm going to get to second. You got to walk.
They're going to have to
first,
slide carefully like the 80s Mets.
That's right.
Wait, is that a point that Scott McIntyre actually does bring up? Because like me and Billy talk about that like all the time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's a true statement. If you look when ratings go up, stolen bases go up.
So one of the things me and Billy have been saying is they talk about we need a universal DH because we need more home runs. Like here's the thing, we have an all-time amount of home and we already have a fan interest problem. Baseball, we've said a million times, that's best when people are on base because that adds suspense. When there's a guy on second, both teams have a reason to be interested because the amount of possible, and that's what keeps people interested. When you have all or nothing home run or strikeout baseball, you can just sit there like this the whole time. And yeah, some games do get boring because the excitement of a home run lasts about 5 seconds between.
I think to your point, as Astros fans, obviously two big moments in 17 and 19. The Bregman walk-off in Game 5 is way more exciting because you have the tense and stress of there's a guy on second base.
Yeah.
As opposed to the home run comes out of nowhere, obviously. Like, we were all ready for extra innings at that point. So.
Well, and not even – I don't want to bring up any pain for our Yankee fan here, but Game 1 of the ACLS in 2016, Altuve scoring from second and wondering if Gary Sanchez is going to catch that ball and tag him out. In a 1-0 game that Verlander threw a masterpiece in. I mean, that was a fantastic game, and that doesn't happen if you're just waiting for every run home run.
Yeah.
And look at what is the signature play of Derek Jeter's career? A play at the plate.
Yeah. Play at the plate.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is funny, but because what's Ozzie Smith's signature play, and that's a home run to right field, that the first one he ever hit left-handed, I think. What a weird game this is that we love. But no, for me, there's nothing more enjoyable from an offensive perspective than a hit and run, runner on first base and a hit and run, perfectly hitting the right field. Suddenly runners are on the corners and trouble's a brewing. Love that. But I'm also the guy that loves a 2 hour pitcher's duel. So
I'm with you on that.
1-0's an exciting baseball game. Like you're never more stressed out than one. Like it's not a 9-6 football game, but a 1-0 baseball game.
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
I will talk about this. If you want to talk about stress, I will honestly say this. More stressed out than I had been for any playoff series against the Astros. I have been even more stressed out, I swear to God, at the London series against Boston.
Okay.
That is something I think I said to a Cardinals fan once, because Cardinals and Cubs are supposed to take the next one, right?
Mhm.
I said, I send you guys my condolences and prayers because I have no more blood pressure bills to give you. It's
Didn't they hit like 1 million home runs in that series?
it was just home runs. It just everything just happened.
Yeah.
And it all happened quickly, and it just kept going. It was like hours. So my friend Mickey, we were sitting on the couch right next to me. I think he got here. I think the first game started like 11 in the morning at our time, and it was like over at like almost 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah, Jess and I were in Amarillo for a Sod Poodles game actually, and stayed in the hotel room, and we're basically not late to the game, but late to cover what we were supposed to cover because it was intense. It was intense.
Yeah, it just kept going. And here's the as many home runs as ever there were also a lot of not home runs, a lot of just stuff in the holes, people on base, and it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
I mean,
And
for
especially
me,
against
it
the Red
was
Sox.
Game 5 against the Dodgers in the 15 NLDS because DeGrom was putting people on base left and right. Yeah, granted, he never let any of them score, but there was constantly a guy on second base the entire game, and that just stressed me the hell out the entire time.
Yep. Guys on base is good. I'm so glad I've actually found people who agree with me. They're not sitting here like, no, we need more home runs.
No.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem right now.
Yeah.
And you guys
one
being
of the
Astros
problems.
yeah, and you guys being Astros fans know what it's like to play with DH, not DH. Like, so it's like you guys get to experience. You guys have experienced both ends of that, where it's like your team has or hasn't played with it.
Well, and even more to that point, Jim and I grew up with playing in the Astrodome, which was an extreme pitcher's park. So it was all hit and run. It was all stolen base. Everybody, I mean, it was you didn't care if you had guys that hit home runs. You had guys that could steal bases. And then we moved to Minute Maid Park, and when it was Enron Park the first year and a half, that was just a ridiculous stadium to hit home runs in. So it was just this giant culture switch.
Yeah.
And they've normalized the stadium for us as fans where it plays fairly neutral, but nobody plays that small ball anymore. Nobody plays stolen base, hit, run baseball.
I was thinking about that, the Dome years, whenever I was coming of age and really paid attention. And like the Astros, and I'm assuming it was like this for everybody, but of course you're centric, but the Astros usually had a left-handed hitter in the 2-hole because you create a natural gap. If you get a runner on first, he's holding the runner. You just poke it right through. And it was usually Steve Finley for those 90s teams. But, that was like
Terry Poole and Craig Reynolds before that.
Yeah.
Their only job was to hit the ball in right field.
That's it. And you don't have that. Yeah.
Yeah. The kids I coach, I call that picking up pennies, which serves a great thing. But the idea is keep getting small victories. Eventually, they're out to your big one. And one of my big pennies is I said, guys, just get on base. Once you get on base, move the guy over. I don't care how you do it. It doesn't have to be a home run. It could be a single. It could be a walk. It could be just distract the catcher with something, and then he drops it and the guy steals. Just pick up a penny. Just get stuff happening.
Yeah.
Put the ball in play. Stuff
I miss baseball so much.
Put the ball in play. Stuff happens. Put the ball in play.
Yeah.
The only, I mean, if all you have to do in baseball to be successful is let the other guy make the mistakes. I mean, especially at the kids level, right? When you're playing at that level, the fundamentals, bat on ball, good things will happen. It's really, I like the steal a penny, or just load up on pennies. Let the other guy give away his money. That's what I always said. Take the first pitch. But you still got two more.
I tell my kids to go after the first pitch.
One of the most successful.
Andrew, what were you saying?
One of the most successful Twins marketing campaigns in the early 2000s was they were small ball practitioners, and somebody came up with the name the Piranhas, because they get you by a bunch of small bites.
I like that.
I like that.
You know, they concentrated on smart base running and stuff like that. And it kind of worked.
I mean,
Didn't get a championship, but they got in the playoffs a lot.
if you throw strikes, you can get ahead of people. And if I don't know, there's so I could talk philosophy forever. I mean, but get the ball across the plate. If you have guys that go after first pitches, the older and older they get, then start them off with breaking stuff or off speed stuff. Get them out of their routine early on. That's the whole key of the game. Once people start feeling comfortable, once somebody's at the plate and they can hit that groove, that's really what this sport is about. Muscle memory. And when the ball's coming up and it looks like a pea, you're in trouble. And when it comes up looking like a beach ball, man, those are fun times.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're pitching.
Anybody else really depressed that there's no baseball right now? Like I just hit
there's no baseball. There's just no MLB.
There's no. You're right. That's right. This is right. In fact, I mean, like I'm sitting here going.
I watched baseball the last 3 nights, man.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm going to be out in Bismarck in 3 weeks. Going to Normal, Illinois. I'm as excited as going to Doughboys to get a calzone is what I've been told to go by the people from Normal. So
Nice.
Cool. So my first pick, I decided to go with my baby in this whole thing, which is Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And the name I picked should not come as a surprise for Billy, or it should come as a surprise for Jim. I went with can you guys see it?
it's coming.
It's loading.
There we
There
go.
it is.
Ooh.
Nice. Ooh,
Is it
very,
up there?
very, very Vancouver.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So we are looking at the Vancouver Voyagers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so the name Voyagers is referring to George Vancouver, who was the British Royal Naval officer who discovered the area that now is known as Vancouver, and he's the person who that's named after. In the logo, you see 2 overlapping V's, and those 2 V's will also represent the 2 ships that he came over here on. And you could see the flag of the British Royal Navy, which is in the background. That font took me forever to do. So there's actually going to be 2 white uniforms. And you see that first one, actually both of them have white hats. Me and Billy really wanted to have a team that's just solid white from top to bottom because no other team does that. And you can obviously a prominence of blue because blue is the official color of the jacket of the British Royal Navy. And I was thinking about doing a solid blue from top to bottom, but I was running out of space to Photoshop. So yeah, these are the Vancouver Voyagers, which again, I think could totally work in real life. And I'm stressing this because I want MLB to use this so that they could pay me for this name. And I'll never have to work a day in my life.
I like all of that.
Yeah, MLB, this is up for grabs. You can take it. Pay me. This is yours. Honest to God, I love this. I absolutely love this. Let's make it happen. Let's go Voyagers. Oh, yeah, I have 2 back-to-back, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Cool. So my second one, my second pick is in Hartford, Connecticut. And I alluded to in the last video that there are 2 Connecticut cities I was wrestling with. I was gonna be Hartford and the other one New Haven. New Haven is the one where my heart wanted to go to because me and Billy went to college in New Haven. That's actually where we met, and they have a former minor league team there called the New Haven Ravens, which is very dear to my heart. But the reason why I went with Hartford is because a lot of people don't know this. Hartford actually had one of the original National League teams. A lot of people don't know that. It was only around for 1 year. It was called the Hartford Dark Blues. And I was going to revive that name, and I was going to call them the Hartford Deep Blues and then revive the Connecticut Defenders logo, which is a minor league team. But I felt like I was ripping off a little bit too much. And then I realized there is an aesthetic that nobody uses anymore. Well, no one uses this ever when representing a team from New England. It's always a red, white, and blue. And I'm hyping this up because I love this. So we are going to go with something that I think is pretty wicked, if you know what I mean. And I introduce to you all the Hartford Witchcraft.
Ooh.
That's my early lead for favorite. And I like that.
Yeah, I want this, and what I liked, I felt it needed pinstripes, especially in this reverse order, because this looks sinister, and the black looks like the night, and the pinstripe almost look like bars on a graveyard, like in front of a haunted house. And I'm thinking for these guys, intro video, like a hype package, is like these guys in like crazy face paint. It looks evil, and there's horror movie music and metal, and Rob Zombie is gonna direct all the stuff that goes on the screen at this place.
I'm thoroughly into this. That's great.
There's a subtle tequila sunrise in there.
I did that entirely on purpose.
Great.
There's definitely that. That's really cool. You can even nickname them the Craft and stuff like that, right? Like,
yeah.
That's
there's
fun.
some fun stuff you can do with that. That's cool.
Okay, so cool. So for my next pick is a city that I said could be realistic in real life, provided that if Tampa Bay moves, I think Orlando could be a real place. And if you're going to do it, you have to get Disney involved. That's the appeal of Orlando. That's what Orlando that's what makes anyone want to go there. So I was really struggling to find a name and a theme that I needed something that alluded to Disney without depending on Disney. And I think I got one that alludes to it enough. And I think you could even pull this off without Disney. But of course, I'm getting Disney involved in it. And I'm calling them the Orlando White Gloves.
I really like
because
that.
Disney characters wear white gloves, and I love it. And I do have an alternate logo of this where I didn't like it too much. The ink was turned from blue to red, so this way it looks more like Mickey Mouse. But I got rid of it because it looked more like blood. Yeah, we're not doing that. But yeah, I like this. The Orlando White Gloves. You see that's Mickey and Minnie's glove right there. And if you look at the paintbrush, is actually a bat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool. It had to be Disney. You know what I mean? It had to be. This is fun. I would wear this. I really like this. My next one is, so I have to keep deleting it and then sharing. This is my European team. Went to Monaco. And then I realized I was going to name them. I was going to take the approach that you took with the Indianapolis. I was going to try to figure out the name after Formula One in some way. I was going to call them the Wingers, named after the wing in the back of the car. But I'm like, I don't want to be too dependent on racing.
Sure.
Even though I did, but I didn't. It was hard. But then I realized we didn't have any other Mediterranean teams. Until Jessica said she wanted Barcelona and whatever, so that kind of threw a wrench in this. But I still remain true to this. Monaco is a destination that people want to go to, meaning it appeals to a broad demographic of people. So I'm going to make the team appeal to a broad place. I'm going to call them, they don't have a nickname at all. They're going to be classy, and they're going to be very regal. They're going to be the Mediterranean Baseball Club of Monaco.
I love that, though. That is such a cool look.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here. So the crown on top is actually what's at the top of the Monaco football club or soccer team. They use that crown. The shield, I made it a circle to look like a baseball instead of the actual shield that the other one has. So the reason why you get the red diagonal line is because the Monaco soccer team's uniform is white with that red sash, but the diamonds underneath are actually come from the Monaco coat of arms.
Wow.
So you see like a lot of stuff there, and it's not just Monaco's team; it's the Mediterranean's team. If you play baseball in Italy, you want to play for the Mediterranean team. If you play if you play in Africa somewhere, like if you say you play for Egypt, say you're from what's the one directly below? It begins with the M.
Morocco.
Libya.
Yeah, Morocco. It's representative of the whole region, and I really wanted to capitalize on that. The jersey for this was going to be very, very similar to the Silver Hammers. So since you already saw the Silver Hammers, I don't have to describe it. It was literally that. Cool. So my second to last one is the logo that took me the longest to do. and that's the reason why I don't have the uniform. It is in Sydney, Australia. And what I noticed is, I found through my research, is Sydney is associated with one certain color. And that color comes from the fact that it was mentioned in a play like in the 80s or 90s that got really popular, and it really made the city kind of brighten its image, kind of. I also wanted to pay tribute to my favorite rock band and my favorite musical anything, which comes from Sydney, Australia.
The Fighting Def Leopards?
No.
The Midnight
They're
Oil?
British. They're
That would
British.
be my favorite rock band.
Oh, the Def Leppard is one of my favorite. And I think they are the greatest rock band that's ever existed.
Midnight
I
Oil?
do, and I paid homage in the name with them, not in the logo, because I picked a word from my favorite song of theirs, and you will see what it is in a second.
Is this the Sydney Silverchair?
I really was
is it
hoping this might be
Silverchair?
the
Is it-
Sydney
no,
Men at
This
Work.
is the Australian Emerald Thunder.
Yes.
Okay, so what band's that from?
Where women blow and men plunder. Or when,
Yes, it is the
What-
Sydney Men at Work. Yes.
Men at Work.
It's a what?
is
I
it?
thought it was a reference to Thunderstruck by
Yeah.
AC/DC.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is it
AC/DC. It's
Yes.
Thunderstruck,
Oh,
AC/DC.
Oh, I thought you were going.
But it works in the other
Oh,
way
I thought it
too.
was-
Oh,
I thought it was-
no.
Look at that.
Like I
double
said,
entendre.
I took the color emerald because Sydney's known as the Emerald City. I wanted to incorporate that and use green, and then I really needed an AC/DC thing, so I put in Thunder there. And I said, why the heck not? We're just gonna push them together. So I want these guys coming out to Thunderstruck, my favorite AC/DC song. I say it's the greatest rock song ever freaking performed, written, anything, because it is impossible to hear that song and not want to destroy just everything that is within your grasp. And I really like this. This is the logo that took me the longest to do, and I'm not making a jersey for it because it took me so fucking long.
But
That's
so
a
are
great
you, are you,
sports hype song.
are you going to have you've got to have an indoor stadium and the lights flicker and Thunderstruck's
Oh,
playing
right.
at the beginning. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And then, but what I'm thinking for a uniform, if I do wind up doing it, it was going to look like the All-Star Game jerseys from when they were in San Francisco. It says American National has the bridge on top. I was going to put the Sydney Harbor Bridge on top and say Thunder right below. But yeah, this is the Australian Emerald Thunder. I really wanted to use that Miami Dolphins kind of color, but it kind of matches the Sea Turtles. It kind of does.
And
So not confused. What did you guys think I was referencing?
I really
Men at
thought you were
Work.
going. There's a line in Men at Work Down Under. I was like, dude, and I was like, gonna dive deep into some Men at Work with you. I have a documentary
Right. Colin Hay.
about them.
Yeah, no,
Can't you hear that thunder?
yeah, I'm pretty basic actually, but yeah. The last one is in Dubai, and this is my least favorite of my colors, the least favorite logo, the least favorite of the name.
Way to
But
end on a high
the
note.
land of the land that Dubai is on top of was first inhabited. Shut up, Billy. Was first inhabited as a metal mining kind of village. So I wanted to pay homage to that and pay homage to metal mining while also keeping Dubai's wealth and prestige a thing. And again, similar to Monaco, I
I'm so
wanted to
glad you didn't
represent the
call them the
reason.
miners.
The what?
I'm so glad you didn't call them the miners. I was getting real concerned.
No.
I love that look, though, man. That's a really cool. It's got like a Last Starfighter vibe. I dig that.
Yeah, kind of. That was the point. So this is I want to reveal to a region again, the Persian Gulf metallic. Because metal is shiny and that place is shiny. This is my least favorite of all of them. And we're not calling them the miners, Billy.
I'm just glad you didn't call them the miners. 'Cause it's just like. Can I ask what the Arabic lettering is?
It's metallic in Arabic.
Okay. That's what I thought it was. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. I have no idea if I copied it correctly. I try to do as close as I can. I have no idea if that's recognizable to anyone who reads Arabic. I have no clue.
Ask Mike.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Mike reads Arabic. I forgot about that.
There
I
you
forgot
go.
about that. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
So this has been a production of Let's Get To and Before the Pitch. We're glad you all could join us tonight. And so you can check us out at B4 Mets_Yankees, or you can check out our YouTube channel at B4 Pitch, and catch us all later. Have a good night, y'all.